All right, let's welcome in Tom this morning. Tom, baseball team had an opportunity on Friday night, squandered it in extras. Then they won, came back on Saturday/Sunday with the elongated, weird game, the delay, and then another 3-hour delay, and you finally got it going in game number 3. What did you make of the baseball team dropping it to Vanderbilt this weekend?
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me on. I don't know. Vanderbilt just had a look about them, and I kind of had a concern for Arkansas in this series. Their hitters just were more disciplined hitters. I mean, they hit the ball better than Arkansas in that series overall. The game that went extra innings, you had Robert Moore up there trying to win the game, and taking just huge hacks at, I think the second pitch was near close to his eyes, just instead of, being plate discipline sound. And I just point that out to say that I think Arkansas has got to show more discipline down the stretch. By the way, I have more deets on the Raccoon.
Let's hear them.
Supplied by Matt Jones and Andrew Hutchinson, who both either talked to the guy or are friends of, and he had told people when it was running on like another row, hey, grab it. And so when it came to his row, he's like, I couldn't just sit here after I told the other people to grab it. So I got to do it. So he did. And yeah, leaving Raccoons alone is a good thing. Let the authorities come in and get it instead of you grabbing it. But, and I also heard that the shot, it had to go into his hand. And I don't know if he has to go for follow-ups, but apparently it was quite painful. So I think they were in some kind of a storage area in a upper ceiling area. Maybe the old coach's offices in the entryway in the foyer there, and they broke through the ceiling. There was 2 of them. So hopefully that situation's under control.
Yeah, and on that subject, Tommy, I know we like to make fun of always having your phone on the video, but the vantage point that Grant got, Tom, of him walking the Raccoon outside of the stadium, the Raccoon's like twisting and twirling. I know that game was entertaining on Friday night, but that had to have been the best part of it, right?
Yeah, that was a classic, and one of the shots I liked the best was from above him, and it went down, and you could see the Vandy bullpen, and all those pitchers are looking at what's going on. I think a couple of them's mouths are like agape, and then there's another shot that from beyond him that goes back toward the field, and the umpire, the third base ump, is turned and just staring at what's going on. It caused quite the commotion, even in the press box. But again, man, if that ever happens, just don't grab the Raccoon. Call people, let animal control come in or the authorities, so to speak.
Yeah, because I thought when watching this all unfold on the streaming broadcast that this is going to be the catalyst for a comeback. This is going to be what lifts you in this game, and maybe be the flint that would spark something for a postseason run here. Kind of like we've seen the rally possum in the past. We've seen rally squirrels. You needed the rally raccoon, and it just that died a pretty quick death.
Oh yeah, it did. It was the reverse Raccoon.
Right.
I think Arkansas had just tied the game, so it was like the bottom of the 7th maybe, and I think it was 6-6 at the time. And then they didn't score anymore in that game, and it just came so close. If Bradfield doesn't reach down and or slap that ball over the fence, there's 2 outs in that inning. So Vandy just did the little things. Bradfield was all over the bases. He stole a bunch of bases. They sack bunted. They hit for power. You want hitting up and down your lineup, and Arkansas only got it from a few guys. Caden Wallace had a big weekend, but Dave Van Horn, he changed up his order for Game 3, and he had Battles in the 3-hole and just moved. Slavin's moved down, and that lineup just didn't get it done. And I don't know. They've got to be more disciplined and not chasing as they move on toward the postseason.
All right, so shutout in the rubber match in Game 3, lose a home series for the first time in forever, and now you're faced with Alabama this weekend. Your RPI's dropped to 29th. Alabama's 53. Conference tournament on the heels of that. What's your gut tell you about where things are headed for Arkansas in relation to postseason, to hosting, to maybe a run to Omaha? What's your gut tell you right now?
Well, it was going to end sooner or later. That was a great run by Arkansas, winning home series. Just phenomenal. We hold them to a very high standard because they've set the standard. My gut tells me A&M's got a ton of momentum. Now, the fact that Ole Miss just won a series at LSU, they want to play their way into the tournament. I don't know if anything's settled there at the very bottom, but they'll be a tough out for A&M. But the Aggies with their two comeback wins of over four runs against Mississippi State, they just have a certain mojo about them. You think back to Game 3 with Arkansas there, if they could score a guy from third base with, one out, or I think there might have been a situation with no outs and runners at second and third, they didn't score, that, maybe they win Game 3 there. So I do think that they're going to go in and win the series at Alabama. It's just that, you need a sweep there. And even if you do, and you win the division, it looks to me like their regional status will be fine, but it's the super regional, because right now they'd be in the second half of the national seeds, 9 through 16, and you might have to travel for a super regional.
Yeah, and another thing to keep an eye on is Auburn, who's just kind of lurking back there at 15 and 11. Right now in SEC play, you've got the edge on them with the tiebreaker. A&M actually kind of essentially holds a half-game lead on you, if you will, with the tiebreaker. Both Arkansas and A&M at 17 and 10, but don't completely take your eyes off Auburn, Tom, who's at 15 and 11.
Absolutely, that's right. And who did you say they finished at Vandy? Is that I'm not positive where Auburn finishes. I wrote it up the other day, and now I've forgotten. But anyway. They're a really good hitting team. I'm not sure if they're going to get their Friday starter Mullins back. I think he's sitting for a while, and I did not see if Burkhalter, their closer, came back. But they're a strong hitting team. They went the other way really well against Arkansas. I talked to Matt Hobbs about that series and the way they pitched to Shara. Their pitchers did a great job against him, but so much of the bottom of their order just went the other way to right field. They're right-handed batters. Just a good approach.
Yeah, Auburn.
So
Auburn plays Kentucky. Where is that?
Lexington.
At Lexington. So Kentucky 10 and 17 this year. So you may not get a lot of help there. So Arkansas has Alabama. You better take care of business this weekend. It would be high time for a sweep. So
it is high time for it. And Alabama's. They've been falling off. They were in contention about 3-4 weeks ago, but their last 3 series have not gone well. And, they need to sweep there and at least tie for the division lead. And then who knows, maybe if you can do that, go into the tournament, have some momentum, maybe you win a game against a really high RPI team, maybe you get Vandy again at some point. And they're going to need that to get into the top 20, top 15 of RPI, and you don't know where that factors in because teams like Dallas Baptist, who will not be hosting, I heard they were 3 over the weekend. So it's a factor, and you just hope in the Razorbacks' case for this season, it's not a huge primary factor on where they find their seed.
Yeah, and I know this weekend's not done, but if Arkansas sweeps, guys, they'll have a 20 and 10 record. Now, they're a long ways from sweeping, but Tom, I know this, 20 SEC conference wins in the regular season is something that's got to get the tournament committee's attention. I know you've got Tennessee at 22, but 20 used to always be the standard of a great or elite season. Arkansas at 17 and 10. If they get to 20, still have a hard time believing they're not going to be. There's not going to be some heated conversation about their national seed and where they would be around that top 8.
Yeah, no doubt. That would put them in the convo, and that's a pretty good standard, 20 and 10. Here's the thing: their starting pitchers. I thought Jackson Wiggins pitched well yesterday, but their starting pitchers have got to start giving them a little bit more length. They were so reliable the first half of conference play with 6-inning starts. In the second half of conference play, there's been a few. So starting with Connor Noland, they got to start out a series with their stud ace pitcher, who hasn't pitched that poorly, but the walks caught up to him the other night. But if he can give them 5, 6, 7 innings when they get into the postseason, that'll be such a bigger lift, because it seems to me the innings on the bullpen are starting to rack up. Evan Taylor didn't look quite near as sharp yesterday, and then Tiger, his last outing was not a good one. So they've got to get the pitching situation settled going into the postseason.
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports. Tom, we've had several texts already this morning about the Arkansas women's softball team, who has locked up a top 4 national seed. They're taking on Princeton this weekend and have a chance they win to either take on Oregon or Wichita State. What has stood out to you about Courtney Deifel's program this year, and just how quickly she seems to have turned things around?
Just an amazing job. I've said it to you guys before. Of all the success stories on campus, I think this is the most, impressive. You got to have pitchers. They've gotten pitchers in. Half and Dels. I mean, to get Dels from Tulsa and for her to be pitcher of the year, just amazing. And then just a nice array of hitters, and they've got power hitters. The fact that KB Sides transferred from Alabama, a powerhouse program, and has been such a key part on this team, just amazing. And of course, if they win the regional, the likelihood is they'll stack up against another Pac-12 team. They've got to be able to beat a West Coast team to get to Oklahoma City. And maybe this is the year they have the mojo going in the right direction that they can do that.
Couple additions in basketball and football, Tom. You've got Landers for football and Council for basketball. I know Pittman's talked about he wanted to add a wide receiver. We anticipated that Eric Musselman was not done in the portal. Your thoughts on the basketball and football additions over the weekend?
Yeah, just real quick on the basketball. I mean, Council, this is going to be another fascinating run as to how he delineates minutes, and it just makes it very, very competitive. If you want to be on the court, you got to get in here and work, listen to the game plan, all that kind of stuff. Matt Landers, I watched. He came into the league with such great promise, and Georgia gave him opportunities. I watched some video of him. Booger McFarland at Toledo last year says this guy's going to be in the NFL. When you're 6'5", that kind of length. You saw a skinny post. He got inside the cornerback, caught the pass, touchdown in the bowl game. Georgia. He got good run against LSU in the championship game. I saw a video, easy to find on YouTube, every target, every run he had for Georgia, and you just see there's promise in that particular season, and I guess it would have been his freshman year or sophomore years at Georgia. Balls, hitting off his fingers. He's just got to have a better catch percentage, and sometimes he needs to lay out for the balls. He got open a few times against Stingley at LSU. I guess they're both freshmen, and balls hitting on his hand and Stingley knocking him out, things like that. So I'm sure he's matured since then. He's a bigger guy, so he's a guy that there's going to be some home run tries by KJ, and see how they can help in that regard. But huge pickup for them. Still want to get a D lineman, I would think.
Tom, good stuff. We'll have to leave it there. We'll catch up with you on Thursday.
Outstanding. Talk to y'all then.
All right, Tom Murphy from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports joins us Mondays and Thursdays on the Morning Rush.
Partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.